Your Kelvins are a little high, but that's all right.
Kelvins are a little high?
It's just a little on the warm side, but it looks fine. I'm just messing with you. I don't care.
Hey, Siri, set office lights to bright white. Hey, Siri, turn off office spots. Hey, Siri, turn on chandelier. Hey, Siri, why are you a stupid? Hey, Siri, set chandelier to bright white.
Sorry, I don't understand.
That's how I think we should do this tonight. I thought of either creating a monster, a spell, or a magic item. I thought that might be fun. I did it with Jim and Artie the other night, and it turned out to be really cool, and we ended up with a cool monster. That's just an idea, though, if you guys are down with that.
That's some nerdy bullshit.
It's pretty nerdy. It gets deep into the the thicket of nerdliness. What do you think, Jess? You like any of those ideas?
I don't. It's not my show. It's the Vodkast.
Okay, I just wanted.
Yeah, it's on you, bud.
Okay,
it's up to you. That's what you want to do. That's what we'll do. As fucking stupid as that is.
I mean, I could just go to Dairy Queen and get a Blizzard instead, but here I am.
God damn it! All right,
there you go. Make a Dairy Queen Blizzard spell. Cone of cold, but like cone of ice cream.
Cone of mix-ins.
Ice cream cone of cold.
See, we're already working on a spell. Are we doing a spell then, or
no?
The monster was really fun the other night because, it starts out with, you get an idea of what it's going to look like. Is it insectoid? Is it humanoid? Is it giant? Is it gargantuan? Does it have wings? And you kind of narrow that down. And then we took the next step and we started filling in all its statistics, naming it, giving it a size, hit point, speed, habitat, all that.
I'm just over here looking at blizzards.
Let's do that. Let's start with a monster.
Are you looking at ice cream online?
Yeah. I am. There's a Superman cake batter cookie dough blizzard treat, and I don't know what it has to do with Superman.
I thought you said Kane Hodder. I'm like, what the fuck does Jason have to do with Superman? That would be amazing.
I want to see them fight.
I think Superman wins in like a microsecond.
Yeah, if Superman and Kane Hodder fought.
Or even Superman and Jason. I mean, Jason can't take Superman. He's fucking Superman.
Yeah, he'd tear him apart. He'd just rip him to shreds. And so tonight, I think we're gonna try to come up with a monster of some sort right off the top of our noggin. This is how we do it here on the podcast and Friends Do D&D. We don't think things out. We don't plan things out. We're just gonna decide. Is it a lizard? I don't know. Is it a bug? Maybe. What kind of monster do you guys want to make? What's a cool monster?
Don't plan things. Don't lump Mike and I into this.
Yeah, I mean, we had a couple of discussions about the terms and conditions of getting me on the show, and nothing had anything to do with making monsters or crafting spells.
Is this Mike's first podcast appearance?
No, well, he's on.
The first one he's actually man enough to air. He didn't air the Oreo eating contest.
Oh, that's right. We should have worn our shirts.
I can go put it on right now. I got it. It's in my drawer.
We're just going to redo it. Everybody go get some Oreos.
I don't have 30 Oreos on me. Oh, actually,
I'm not interested in eating a single Oreo ever again in my life.
I have Oreos, but I don't think there's 30 of them.
I always have at least 30 on hand.
We'd only have to eat 1.5 to beat Jay, Jess.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't like to consume a lot of sugar.
I also didn't know that we were all wearing plum today. I didn't know today's color was plum, or I would have changed my shirt.
Oh, you didn't get the note. Sorry.
No.
Have you ever seen a plum? Is this plum colored?
That's plum colored.
Okay.
Not in the fruit sense,
It's
but in
burgundy.
the color sense.
It's fucking burgundy. It said burgundy on the receipt.
So now I'm making a monster? Do you not want to make a monster?
Yeah, whatever. Let's make a fucking monster for you. Go.
So let's go. Let's brainstorm ideas. Do we? What kind of like?
Okay, I start with it's a goblin, but with a hat.
An aquatic goblin with a hat.
Okay.
Not aquatic. No, he's afraid of water. This goblin's afraid of water. It's a hydrophobic goblin with a hat.
So we're just gonna.
But he lives in the water, but he's afraid of the water.
He lives near the water, but he won't actually put. Essentially, this goblin is Jay with a hat.
So it's just one. So that's a good way to start it out. Is it one creature like like you're going to face a red dragon? You're not going to face 3 red dragons, or is it a goblin where there are many of them? Like there's
goblin is a race of creatures.
Yeah.
This is one particular goblin who has a hat and is afraid of water, but lives in a hut by a river.
But also hardly ever leaves this hut. Only to go to the store to pick up treats.
The hut's up on blocks. It used to be a van, but now it's a hut.
Okay. And he hardly ever leaves it.
So he's a hermit type.
Well, no, he's just afraid of water. He's just crippled by his own phobia.
Can you go outside when it rains or no?
No, God, no.
Okay. Can this goblin put his face in the water when he's taking a shower or no?
Well, there's no shower in the van.
Okay, so definitely not.
No. Smells wonderful.
So it's stinky. His abode is very stinky.
I would assume so. It looks like it is.
But the trick to this goblin is he has 400,000 hit points.
So he's godlike.
Yeah, but he can't attack because he doesn't have arms. I don't know, dude. No, but this is a stupid creature. Let's not make this poor. Let's just put this thing out of his misery.
Okay, he's dead. The river goblin is dead. He's a ghost now. Okay.
Well, okay, great. So now we have a spectral, hydrophobic goblin with a hat. Who's? I mean, I guess he's not really hydrophobic because he can sort of just walk on water.
Why is the hat so important?
Problem solved. Oh, I don't know. I wanted to differentiate it from every other goblin.
Yeah, not all goblins wear hats.
It's a nice hat, though.
What kind of a hat is it?
I feel like it's a fedora hat.
Ooh.
Come on, no.
What about like a straw hat?
It's not a straw hat. He's not a fucking hick.
Maybe he's just going to the beach.
It's a flat cap.
Like a baseball cap, flat?
No, like a flat cap. You don't know what a flat cap is?
No. So, all right, let me give you an example of what we did the other night. We came up with a praying mantis type monster that lives. If it takes you two months to get to the surface of the planet from Shadowvale, you'd have to go 2 months deeper to find where these creatures live.
Sorry, that wasn't intentional.
They were they're mantises. The nice little twist about them though is they're not after you. They eat magic. It's what sustains their life. It basically makes them immortal. So when these travelers come through their area, they attack. And if the people just give them their magic items, then they let them go away free. But if they don't, they'll try to grapple you with their pincers, and then they'll try to snip your head off. And that's how they deal with their.
What about magic that's like ingrained in somebody though? Would they just eat their person?
Yes, if you're a sorcerer, actually, you're very susceptible to them attacking you. Whereas a wizard, it's you have to learn how to cast magic and so on and so forth.
So how would they deal with like a monk or a fighter?
They would probably, if they didn't have any magical items on them, they'd probably ignore them. But if they had any magical items,
So if I'm in the business of hunting, if I'm a hunter and I want to go kill one of these things, I'm just a rogue. I just backstab them and I can't do anything.
Well, they do have defensive. They've got a high AC. They're very intelligent. They're not like stupid creatures. They usually have a brood of, maybe 50 to 75 in a colony. They actively, live their lives just like any other humanoid type creature.
Do they get magic out of the magic items that they eat, or they just eat it because it's magic?
Yeah, no, it draws the magic out of it. So if you're attacking with a long sword, +4 long sword or something like that, all of a sudden you hit the creature, it's sapping off the energy. You notice your attacks aren't doing as much damage, or they're not hitting as much.
Is that the only thing they eat? Just magic?
Yeah,
or do they eat regular food?
Yeah, they don't have food at all.
Okay, and there's 75 of them?
Per brood, so they're probably distributed under the crust of the earth, close to the.
No, got it. But if they only eat magic, and there's a significant number of them in a small location, how do they survive?
Well, because they're technically about 2 weeks deeper into the Athalian crust.
Wait, hold on. 2 weeks into the crust?
Well, 4 weeks technically. It's 2 weeks to get to Shadowvale, and then the following 2 weeks to get you closer to the core.
And that is following some sort of winding path, or is that a direct tunnel for 4 weeks?
Oh no, cavernous. So like if
it's like the Underdark.
Pretty much. It's a sub Underdark.
Let me ask you the side question.
Yes.
Are there any parts of the world that you have created that are direct ripoffs of the Forgotten Realms?
Well, Shadowvale technically is underneath a jungle. That takes
got it. So you hit it you just shuffled the surface a little bit.
Yeah. So instead of, exactly. Because I didn't want to rip it off directly. And I named them Shelven Elves instead of Drow. And you get the gist of it.
The Shelven Elves?
A Shelven, A-S.
Like the elf on the shelf?
No, like Ash Elven Elves, a Shelven Elves.
And also, do they like hibernate, or they literally just starve until somebody shows up with a magic sword?
No, I think they would probably send out parties to go scavenge from Shadowvale and try to get what they can from the Shelven Elves, or even just travelers who come through, which aren't common and that deep below the surface of the earth. But, deep
Shelven
dwarves
elves?
and stuff. What?
Shelven Elves?
Not goddamn Shelven Elves. Ash Elven. Like ash. The word ash.
A Shelvin elves?
Elven, yeah.
No.
That's what Galadriel was, the character in my book, and
I thought that was just you.
I mean, it's a little bit of me in everything I create. So, yeah. So, but that's the idea of it. Like, I think we should create something like different than that, but along the ideas of a creature that's unique. Pretend, you're in a party of, Jess, you're a rogue. Mike, you're playing a wizard this game. Like, what interesting creature would you be like, wow, that's really unique and different? Like, if you encounter these creatures that we created the other day, normally you just...
Let me stop you again. Let me stop you right there. If I'm in a party with Jess and she's playing a rogue, the first thing I do is get some anti-dynamite gear and I put that on, because the last time I was in a party with Jess and she was a rogue, she threw a fucking stick of dynamite at me.
Okay, that was a very long time ago.
It was like a year and a half ago.
I think our character should be like a humanoid, like somebody who thinks they're a rogue but they're actually not.
Well, now we're talking about a class, though. Like, maybe they're rogue like this race of beings.
Their thing is they only steal from big box stores. They don't steal from mom and pop stores.
I mean, anybody you can self-scan at, if you're paying everything you're getting, you're out of your mind.
This character specifically goes to self-scans. That's like his jam. Yeah, so the character thinks he's like a sneaky rogue, but he really is just
a douchebag. Yeah.
A douchebag.
We're not going to make a monster tonight, are we?
No.
You want to talk about your favorite experiences with, with Dungeons?
I have to be honest. I played Dungeons and Dragons with other people like 6 times in my life. I don't really have that much experience. No? Yeah, I mean, nobody ever wanted to play with me because when I met you guys, we were all like in our early 20s. And Jay, you guys have been playing D&D since you were kids, and you were done with it.
Wrong.
No, not you, Jess. Jay had been playing since he was a kid. I had never played. I'd only heard stories, so I really wanted to play, and I was a little bit too enthusiastic, so nobody ever wanted to play with me. So I got to play a couple times with Dave, but Dave's games are always horrible and chaotic and a mess. So I don't really have D&D experience like you do. Most of my D&D experience comes from video games.
We could talk about EverQuest then and how that relates to the D&D experience.
Absolutely. That'd be great. I mean, EverQuest was a huge chunk of all our lives. I mean, Mike, I think, introduced us to EverQuest, or he introduced me. First he showed me Ultima
Jacob's
Online.
the one who introduced everybody to EverQuest.
Was that what it was? You were playing Ultima Online, though, first, right?
I played Ultima Online a little bit, not significantly.
But that was the real one that opened up the floodgates, I think, because people were like, whoa, I can be online with a bunch of people and group up and do this, that, and the other. And then EverQuest took that next step and put you, kind of in a better perspective when you're playing the game. You're not playing top down. You're actually playing third person or first person. And we probably have a million stories we could tell about whether it be the southern deserts of Roe, trying to drop the ancient Cyclops just so we can get those J boots, I mean, we would spend hours, like we would hang out, play D&D, and then everybody go home and jump on EverQuest.
I remember Jay, your character would never, ever engage.
Oh, yeah.
Because you didn't want to do a corpse run.
Yeah, I'd run along the walls, the mountains and stuff. I'd go along the edge of just trying to not avoid everything till I could get to someone.
You would never engage in any type of combat. In a group.
Yeah.
We were trying to fight things.
No, but I learned.
You learned, yeah. What was your primary character class?
Probably Galadriel was a rogue or a ranger. I can't remember.
Okay, so 2 things that have no other utility other than to attack.
Yeah, close combat.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
No, he was a ranger.
Not like a cleric or an enchanter or something. Okay.
Yeah, because I wasn't into rogues at the time. It wasn't until like recently in D&D I'm all about the rogues.
You mentioned the ancient Cyclops in the southern desert of Roe. I never did that. I had several pairs of J boots, but what I did was let me circle back to that. When I started playing EverQuest, I was playing with Jacob and a few of his other friends, like Jay Coolin and Kathy Coolin and those guys.
Oh, yeah.
And they knew somebody who had an item duplication trick. So what they did was they got some really high level stuff and they duplicated it like a bunch of times, and they were just giving out like really expensive, really high level loot. So Jacob just tossed me a bag of like short swords of the Acacia and shining metallic, real like the top end loot at that time. So all I did was sell that, and then I had tons of platinum, and I would say, hey, I'm looking for somebody who has the ring from the Cyclops so I can get my J boots, I'll give you 50,000 platinum for it, which is like way more than it was worth if you go there and help me turn in the quest. So that's how I got all of my stuff. I'm like you, never actually played the game.
You sons of bitches.
I just traded on that little bit of thievery at the beginning to build my entire empire, much like an Elon Musk or a Tony Soprano. That's why I had so much gear, but I never raided or did anything serious in EverQuest 1. EverQuest 2 I did a little bit, but not in EverQuest 1.
I never knew that. All those nights.
Well, I am totally an imposter in most things in my life, so I'm happy to lay all that bare tonight.
Wow, I'm shocked. I thought you just spent hours. I was like, how the hell does he have all this? He must.
Oh, I did. I spent hours in the bazaar or in GFA just trading stuff because on my server. Most servers, the big trading hub was Eastern Commonlands,
Was that
but in my
tunnels?
server it was Greater Feydark. So I would just spend all my time in there buying and selling shit.
Until that expansion came out. Where was the bazaar?
The bazaar was on Lucklin.
Lucklin, not Luceland.
Or Luceland,
never
depending on how you want to pronounce it. I don't really have an opinion. Never have actually had an
always
opinion.
Lucklin now because of Mike, though.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, because if I say Luceland, somebody's like,
I think I say Lukeland.
Lukeland? Oh no.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really
what
care.
were the places in the tunnels that you had to go and like? Was that the not the bazaar, but like that's where everybody went to trade?
The bazaar was on the moon, yeah.
But
it was the
before-
Nexus and the
prior
bazaar and the Palatal Caverns and
Next to
other
the
stuff.
Southern Deserts of Row, kind of. There was a set of tunnels that you would go.
Yeah, that was
for
Eastern
hours.
Commonlands. East Commonlands. Yeah, that's where most people did their trading on most servers. But my server, it was in GFA. I remember Chrissy playing and
Herbie was in like
Gary, Brian,
the Raiding Guild, like Brotherhood of the Spader or something. So I knew he would remember.
I love that aspect of the game. I spent more time in Lucklin just selling and trading, and I love that part of it. I thought that was such a cool thing when they added that in officially.
I think last year or 2 years ago, I went back to try and play it, and I was like, oh God, this is so different. It's so different from what I remember it to be.
It not only doesn't look great, the controls are horrible.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't use WASD, you use the arrow keys. And so it's like my hands don't know what to do. And I spent probably conservatively 12,000 hours playing that game, just buying and selling shit. Now I can't do it. I can't play it.
I think I'm so used to the WoW. Once I switched over to WoW, I can't go back to EverQuest.
WoW, WoW was a modern game compared to EverQuest, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you ever play EverQuest 2, Jess?
Yeah. There was one where it got to be that you had to group because you had to like hit your spells at the same time when they did like the wheel.
Yeah.
I hated that. I didn't want to group with people and play with people. I just wanted to run around and do stupid shit.
That really only lasted maybe like 3 or 4 months before they just gave up on it.
Was EverQuest 2 the ones with houses?
Yeah. Oh no, they had houses right from the beginning.
Yeah, you had an apartment, I think. Whatever your starting town was, you had an
this should be a little 1-bedroom apartment.
That was the game where you could just drop a bag, log out, log back in, and hope that bag of stuff that you left for your other character was still there.
That's actually how the dupe trick worked.
That's crazy.
Really?
It was part of it, yeah.
Yeah, EverQuest 2, I liked it. I didn't mind the combo system. It took me a while to realize there was one. Like the icons down the bottom would flash, and I'd be like, I guess I'm supposed to hit that. Then I hit this, and then
by the time the first expansion came out, nobody was even bothering with it. It only made sense for rogues because rogues had like alternate advancement that made it really impressive, but it was never really great.
Like so many different games that we played. Did you play Star Wars Galaxies?
No.
No,
I hated that game. I didn't like City of Heroes either.
No?
City of Heroes was too, I don't know, basic. There wasn't enough to it.
Yeah. I remember my character's name was Mary Magdalene. That's all I remember.
I just like that they were like travel powers, like flight and super jump, and like you all of a sudden weren't this character just running on the ground like in EverQuest, like unless you got a mount or something. Suddenly you could fly and jump and super run, super.
But there was no role playing aspect to that game. It was just this guy standing on the corner, go beat him up. That was it.
Yeah, that was it.
That and it was a fashion show.
30 expansions of EverQuest, by the way. I just looked.
Yeah,
up
they're
how
still
many
going
more.
strong.
It was really disappointing when they canceled the third EverQuest. I liked the direction it was going in and being able to mold the world around you where you could dig.
I don't remember that one.
Yeah, it's supposed to have destructible environments, so you could actually build a house, but kind of like in Minecraft, where you could just take out the voxels and.
That was the problem. They never really lost focus. They expected their vision that carried them through EverQuest 1 to carry EverQuest 2, but Brad McQuaid is the guy who created EverQuest 1. He's the one who had they used to call it the vision. And he didn't want to deviate from that. But in EverQuest 2, they made it like corpse runs were a fucking nightmare. If you had to go get your corpse back from wherever it was, or you lost that experience and that loot, same as in EverQuest 1. But at the same time, what they didn't have in EverQuest 1, they had in EverQuest 2, which was competition in the form of World of Warcraft. Very easy to get into, very bright, very colorful, very kid-oriented, very, very fun. And people were like, well, do I want to risk, spending my whole night trying to get my corpse back from the sewers? Or do I want to run this fucking Minotaur around and stomp on gnomes and have a lot of fun? So they didn't compete, and they never caught up.
How did death work in the early days of World of Warcraft? I don't remember.
I think you just die and you were respawned with all your stuff. There wasn't any penalty, really. Just
even the corpse runs now are easier though, because you have the little.
Do you have to do
marker.
corpse runs now? It's been a while since I played WoW.
You have a marker.
Like a
you don't have
point.
to try and figure out or remember where you were. It'll show you on a map where your little.
Oh, that's right. You come back as a ghost, and then you go back there. But you can choose not to go back and just lose.
Yeah, you can just
take the debuff right for a little while.
Yeah, it's like a 15%.
That's way better than EverQuest.
Yeah, but you also know where your corpse is. EQ, I don't think it gave you where your corpse. You just had to run around and try and find it.
You could give people permission to drag your corpse. So you see people say hey, I see so and so's corpse here. Give me permission, and then they would just steal all your shit.
Yeah. I forgot about that dragon corpse.
That was bullshit. I forgot all about that too.
Oh my God. A teleport, trying to get a wizard to teleport you somewhere. Remember that? Looking for a port to whatever.
I used to bug Jeremy for teleports all the time.
Such crazy difference between World of Warcraft. Like EQ, I played for way longer than I should have probably. I didn't do anything with it. I just ran around and had fun. So I didn't advance in anything because you have to raid, you have to do this. With World of Warcraft, you can still find stuff to do and still advance your character without hardcore raiding.
Daily stuff, the dailies you'd get, you'd run around, do all your dailies.
Yeah.
WoW focused on fun. I mean, EverQuest focused on making this seem like a real world, whereas WoW focused on let's make this as much fun as possible.
Yeah.
And fun always wins.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a game, right?
Yeah, like the world of MMO isn't the same world that we left behind, or World of Warcraft still is going strong. I guess EverQuest is too, but like the new MMOs that come out just do not last long. I remember playing one that was like a space one, an alien one, where it was a show. There was a TV show that came on, and the video game came out to coincide with it, to cooperate with it. So you lived in the world that the show existed in, and they released it at the same time. The show was okay at best, but the game I had a lot of good times with, but it just had no depth to it. They realized that I think they got in over their heads. They weren't just creating a video game. They were creating an MMO, and MMOs grow and change and evolve over time. And I think they just didn't have either the money or commitment to do it. Do you remember when the Dreamcast put out Phantasy Star Online? And Brad got the modem to go with the Dreamcast and go on.
I loved that game.
Yeah. No. You know how often I think of skateboarding?
Yeah.
But when I also do think of skateboarding,
and then
I don't
like
think
20
of
years ago.
Kurt Cobain either.
I think of Kurt Cobain probably a couple times a year. I think of skateboarding never.
So when you're when you think of skateboarding, Tony Hawk's up here, Kurt Cobain's down here. Was that?
No, I'm saying when you talk about music, there's a lot of names that come up if you think about the icons, the legends who have either died or even are still alive. The Steven Tyler's, Jimi Hendrix's, John Lennon. You don't always go right to Kurt Cobain unless you're talking about grunge.
Hold on a second.
No, I just meant they were famous at the same time. And they probably met musicians and hung out together, and that's how their kids met each other.
I understand what you're saying, Jess. And I think
Okay,
you're
yeah, Jay did not.
But I just want to understand. Jay just listed 3 people.
Yeah.
He listed. Who was it again?
John
Steven
Lennon.
Tyler,
Tyler.
Jimi Hendrix, and John Lennon.
Yeah.
One of these doesn't belong, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Why is Steven Tyler listed with fucking Jimi Hendrix and John
You know,
Lennon?
he's number one. He's still alive. He's not part of the
He's
27
still alive.
Club.
Tony Hawk is too.
Yeah,
I'm
but,
just saying,
but
like-
hold on. We're focusing on your music. You just pulled 3 musician names out of your ass, and your thought was, well, I'll start with Steven Tyler because clearly you want to start with the best.
Clearly.
And then you went to fucking You started with Steven Tyler. You went to Jimi Hendrix, and then you went to fucking John Lennon.
Yeah.
How about try to get him even?
But, all right, well, let's compare like Kurt Cobain to like John Lennon. Well, who's the if you're thinking of music icon legends?
Let's take all of the Beatles out of any conversation.
do that.
Unless
Yeah,
you're talking about the Beatles and Elvis, there really isn't anybody in that league.
That's true.
But why is Steven Tyler your go-to? I think is what Mike's wondering.
I feel like literally popped into my head. I think Aerosmith's been around since
even if you said Axl Rose, I would give you that.
Oh,
but
really?
Steven Tyler?
I didn't say Axl Rose specifically because I thought you'd give me shit for saying Axl Rose.
No,
So
I'm
you
going to
went
give you
to
shit no matter what you say. That's just how it is. But I mean, look, no offense to Liv Tyler. She's lovely. She was great in The Lord of the Rings. I don't think she's done anything else in her life. But
Didn't she do
Her
that other
dad-
one where he had a song in it? The Don't
the
Want to
one
Miss
where
a
he
Thing.
had-
Oh yeah, the asteroid movie.
Yeah, we were just talking
I
about
don't know. I
it
didn't
the
see
other
that.
day. Yeah.
I know she was in Mystic Pizza, and she was in The Lord of the Rings, and other than that, I don't know what else she was in.
I
Oh,
didn't
she
know
was
she
in
was in
Jersey
Mystic-
Girl, that Kevin Smith
Okay.
reference.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
But anyway, Steven Tyler is the Aerosmith is like, I don't know, they're like the Walmart of rock bands.
It is. It's kind of like you're going to do directors and you're like, or
Michael
like
Bay,
movies.
George
Yeah.
Lucas, and Steven Spielberg,
Steven Spielberg. But you're like
Good point,
Ernest
good
Goes to
point.
Camp, Goodfellas,
and Schindler's
Scarface.
List.
Should I gone with Jim Morrison and Over?
I
mean, at
don't
least
know
Jim
where
Morrison
you were going with it, so it
At
didn't even
least
matter.
Jim Morrison had the good sense to die young. Steven
that's
Tyler is never going to die. So enough trashing poor Aerosmith. Never did anything to anybody.
Not Aerosmith, Steven Tyler.
Well, who else is in Aerosmith? Joe Perry.
Joe Perry.
Yeah.
That's it.
Can't-
Those are the two. That's the 2 Aerosmith members.
Yeah, I can't think of the other members.
Other
Nobody
Aerosmith.
can.
No, Joe Perry, Steven Tyler, Rick Smith, Chris Hansen,
Chris
and
Hansen, the have a seat guy.
Bobby Flay.
Isn't
those are
he
the
a
5.
chef?
Uh-huh.
Bobby Flay?
I made up everything after the first 2. That
Yeah, Chris Hansen and Bobby Flay are real
I know.
people. Okay.
I know. Maybe they were in Aerosmith. We don't know.
I think there might be a Todd in there. I feel like there's a Todd.
Todd
Bridges?
Grundley.
Todd Bridges. I often wonder what accents you can do and get away with. Like
None.
Star Wars Galaxies introduced something to MMOs that I
Oh, we're
wish
still talking about video games?
had carried over. They had an engineer class where you could build like speeders or spaceships, or you could build houses or guild halls. And like I just, when that aspect got introduced to it, like it did for me what The Sims does for me. Like I don't care about The Sims. I just want to build houses, and like I could build houses in the spaceships in an MMO.
You know, you could be a carpenter in the real world
That's a lot of
if that's
work.
what you want.
Yeah,
Because
but
that
there's
sounds
no-
like you're playing the game to have a job.
There's no Rosebud cheat in real life like it is on The Sims.
No, there isn't. I wish there
I don't know what
was.
that is.
It's the
Yeah.
excess money, like Rosebud
Yeah,
something,
that-
and you get like 10,000
But if you put
simoleons.
mother load, you get 100,000.
I feel like my mom when I try to explain to her how to use an iPad. What the hell are you talking about? Cheating
Payback.
at a single player game. That's great,
Yeah.
guys.
Well, because you could just build. If you wanted just a shit ton of money, you just build. That's all. And then your sim was always happy because you didn't have to go to work.
I remember I jammed a pencil in the enter key one day and like had the just pasting. It was like pasting. I don't know how it worked, but it was pasting and entering. So when I got home from work, I was just like loaded. I had so much money
Oh my
and I built
gosh.
mansions.
So where were you working at the time? I just want to see if you were stealing at work as much as you were stealing at home.
George,
You stole a lot, but in the sense of time.
Jeez.
No, but you also punched in and then just left.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, but I think you learned that from me.
We went to Spider Gates while he was working.
That was like a
Jordan's.
6-hour trip. I went in, called Jess. I'm like, hey, I just got to work. When are we going to go? Whenever. I was like, okay. Left. Came back. I think, no, it might have been longer because I think my shift was over. I'm like, fuck, I got to punch out. They're going to ask why I was late last night.
No, you get overtime. It's great.
What did you actually do there?
What?
What was your job there?
It was technical support and like network. Technically, it was network assistant of some sort, assistant to the network administrator. So like if we got terminals that went down, PCs that went down, printers that went down, networks that, were acting wonky. If I had to go to the warehouse or if I had to go to Nashua, like I would just go there and, fix the problem if I couldn't do it over the phone. I really liked it a lot, to be honest. Like, especially Sundays. When I work Sundays, I bring in a tennis ball and make games out of like bouncing it off the wall. And if I caught it, it was an out. Or if I missed it, like,
wow.
I'd spend like hours just doing that. And I did steal sodas from the closet too. I'd just go in there and take sodas.
Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a real job?
All right, let's see.
I would say that would be a real job, right?
My first
No, I
job,
mean like a real job that you actually like did.
Yeah, Pride when I worked there. I worked there about 3 years working in the warehouse. I hated it. Hated my life during those years. Then
And you were how old?
18, I think.
No.
So that's 30 years
I would
ago.
say 18 is real job, like career job, I think is what Mike means.
No, I mean like any job where I would, if I were your boss, think, yeah, he's a great employee. And I knew what you were doing.
No.
So, all right. So let's take this back to D&D, I guess.
So, D&D, yeah. We might as well bring it back. This is a D&D podcast. People are going to be, what the fuck are they talking about?
I'm going to have to leave this lovely conversation. I got to go do some stuff. So you boys have a fun, create a character.
We shall. Thank you for joining us.
Later.
See you.
Don't go to sleep with a catch it in your pocket.